Shared services is characterized by specialist teams that are geographically unconstrained and client-focused. Though often confused with centralization, the differentiator in shared services is that the internal client is provided with the same respect and service as the external client. Successful shared services requires engaged clients working in partnership with the provider. We would like to share with you how to develop a robust client interaction framework, or CIF, to provide these crucial implementation and control levers for service delivery. There are 9 critical components to take into consideration in developing a best practice CIF. These 9 components are account management, client contact management, service partnership agreements, client feedback, continuous improvement, process control database, performance measurement, performance reporting, recharging methodology, and continuous improvement. The first component of CIF is account management. The key responsibilities of account management include facilitating successful internal and external client relationships, acting as the all-important key interface and internal escalation point between the client and the SSO, reflecting the voice of the customer, defining service partnership agreements, and managing the governance and reporting framework. In addition, the account manager engages with the client to improve upstream process performance and fosters a dialogue based on facts, analysis, and reporting to drive process improvement. The second CIF component is client contact management. This defines how regular or daily interactions with clients are managed, how clients should contact the SSO to request service, and how requests are managed. For normal day-to-day interactions, a client will contact the SSO directly. But in the event of more complex issues or problems, these requests are escalated to the client account manager. Discussions on service expectations are not just about agreed delivery, but also about how the client needs to be actively engaged to support service delivery. A key related issue regarding process performance is the need to effectively manage transparency and process compliance. An important tool in contact management is a governance framework that clearly defines, between the SSO and the client, who does what and the agreed targets and standards. Joint ownership of efficiency targets is especially important and is achieved through clearly defined responsibilities and standards. The third key component of CIF covers service partnership agreements, SPAs, between the SSO and the client. The SPA represents a two-way agreement in recognition of the partnership that is required for successful service provision. The SPA clarifies the relationship and expectations between the SSO and its clients. It identifies the services to be provided by the SSO to its clients and the inputs that are required from the client that enable those services. It provides a framework for performance measurement and process improvement. SPAs allocate responsibilities for service delivery between the SSO, corporate departments, and the client, defining the appropriate level of service to meet the client's needs. The SPA exists to clarify the relationship and expectations between the SSO and its clients, provide a framework for performance measurement and process improvement, and increase the SSO and client's understanding of each other's needs. Service partnership agreements are different from service level agreements, or SLAs. The key differentiator is that SLAs are typically one-way agreements outlining SSO services and the cost to the client, where SPAs are bidirectional agreements outlining both the SSO and client responsibilities in service provision. Client feedback is the fourth key component and is essential. Developing, monitoring, and ensuring compliance through an effective client communication and feedback mechanism between the SSO, its clients, and its key stakeholders is fundamental to the success of the SSO. This feedback mechanism needs to be adapted to meet and be relevant to the strategic, operational, and day-to-day requirements. Client feedback is monitored both informally and formally through surveys. This information is linked to automated performance measurements, which is reviewed monthly by both the SSO and client. This information is in turn used to help drive continuous improvement. The next key component of CIF is the process control database. The activity split between the shared services team and the clients needs to be clearly documented, understood, and agreed. End-to-end processes must be fully documented and managed by the shared services team. End-to-end process ownership, roles and responsibilities, and handoffs must be fully defined. The process control database can be as simple as a list maintained on a spreadsheet, or could be a web-enabled, enterprise-grade solution with integrated flowcharts, access management, and revision control. The complexity of the process and the needs of the organization will drive the business case on how to manage and support the process control database. What is critical is that the end-to-end process is documented, understood, and agreed. Performance measurement refers to tracking and monitoring the performance of each process in terms of how it delivers on operational and client requirements. It is important, however, that performance is measured on both sides of the service partnership. One side is the performance of the SSO in meeting its agreed commitments to clients. The other side is the performance of the internal or external client in supporting the upstream process input requirements. To track performance, it is important to measure agreed input and output key performance indicators, or KPIs, as well as the more standard operational KPIs. This figure highlights the three major types of KPIs: input, operational, and output. In determining which output KPIs you want to include in your performance measurement framework, a key question is to ask your clients how they would like to measure and evaluate the service provision of the SSO. This will drive the types of operational KPIs that the leadership of the SSO will want to monitor to support those outputs. Leading practice organizations further break down operational KPIs to measure individual and team performance, although this needs to be supported by a complementary culture of continuous improvement. It could do more damage than good to use individual KPIs in a blame culture. By including the client in the design of the output KPIs, this provides a convenient segue to introduce input KPIs and to truly engage the client in the service partnership. Performance reporting ensures the SSO is performing to its optimum capacity and its performance is being reported to all key stakeholders in the most relevant and appropriate fashion, preferably supported by effective automation. Process performance should be reported in detail and reviewed by the SSO, its key stakeholders, and its clients on a regular basis. These reviews also provide an opportunity for comments to be heard and recommendations for improvement to be made. The recharging methodology, or service pricing, defines the basis for charging for services by the SSO to its clients, internal and external. While the method of charging can be adapted over time, it is important that there is an agreement as to how services delivered are charged. Charging for services also allows clients to adjust their consumption of service where necessary by creating more transparency into the cost of delivery. We often recommend deferring the implementation of service pricing for several months post-go-live to provide time for the SSO to stabilize. Attempting to collect chargebacks while dealing with transition issues may well create noise and distractions that could actually delay the optimization desired by all stakeholders. Implementing some type of recharging methodology is an important component of CIF, as having clients that are happy paying chargebacks is a key indicator that the SSO is successful. Likewise, complaints about chargebacks can help surface issues so that they can be addressed before they become critical. In addition, pricing and chargebacks can help to influence behavior where charges are linked to activity and compliance. This can then help ensure that services demanded and provided are really what are needed, that inefficiencies are identified and rooted out, and that policies and procedures are followed, all of which benefit not only the internal client, but the whole enterprise. Continuous improvement is key to any SSO that wants to remain effective and competitive, even after the initial goals have been achieved. It is important to define mechanisms that continuously identify areas for improvement and to develop appropriate solutions. Some examples of improvement initiatives are global methodologies like Lean or Six Sigma, which may define, measure, analyze, improve, and control improvements. Some important prerequisites for continuous improvement to become embedded include creation of a dedicated team for continuous improvement, senior leadership sponsorship, development of appropriate skill sets, and taking an integrated approach to improvement initiatives, not a standalone approach. All components of the client interaction framework influence and support the others. For example, the chart that you see now illustrates how each of the other 8 components of CIF drive a culture of continuous improvement. Sustainable success hinges on satisfied clients. But this involves more than putting your staff through client service training and asking them to play nice. If you are not operating through a robust client interaction framework, you risk confusion over roles and responsibilities. You won't be basing your policies on relevant data, and your service will be characterized by one-way traffic. The solution is to channel your services and interactions through a well-structured client interaction framework. If you'd like to find out more about the CIF or how your shared service organization is managing your clients, join our complimentary CIF self-assessment online to assess your own readiness. Take the Chazy CIF assessment now, and we'll send you a summary report along with details of how you rank compared to your peers and high-level analysis on how you can improve your service management if you so request. For more information about the CIF and about Chasey Partners, please do not hesitate to email us or visit our website at www.chaseypartners.com.